Now we have audio.
And we're live.
We are live. Not live.
Close.
We are pre-recording. We are live.
That we are.
This is GrindWorks Podcast 008. Sorry, I had to double check my number. I'm ahead, so...
He's recording so far ahead that he forgets what number he's actually on.
Yeah, I could tell you what the date is for real, or I could tell you what date it is that you might be watching this.
Today is Sunday, February maybe.
I assume you guys all know me at this point, unless this is your first podcast that you've watched and you don't follow GrindWorks on Instagram. Then I just question how you got here, but...
You need to tell him.
Someone's hyping it.
Yeah, if so, you need to let him know in the comments.
Yeah, comment that it is this guy if you know him.
Or anywhere it came from.
This is Brant Moore. If you don't know Brant, he's a bike guy. He does bike things on YouTube. He hypes himself a lot. He does a lot of how-to videos. Explains a lot of bicycle technicalities and... Yeah, BMX news. Why don't you explain yourself? Why am I doing it?
I mean...
I probably don't even follow your YouTube channel, just to be honest.
You might not, but you have...
I mean, I did just create one just to do this.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, basically, I'm a bike rider. BMX is my
I just shook the cameras.
That's alright. It was an earthquake. It's an earthquake in Pennsylvania. So
that'll be fixed soon, and we'll be pointing down, not up, which Brant has already yelled at me for.
Yeah, when you're a video person, you notice things, and it's hard. And I'm a perfectionist. So basically, what I do is I make videos on YouTube, I post stuff on Instagram, and I create like what I would call real videos, and what some people who are probably watching this would call a real video, and that's using a real camera to film and edit, or what we're working on, which is like a more real project. Again, real. But YouTube is riding videos throughout the week with a Tuesday tip and BMX news on Fridays. Good enough? Was that good? Do I need more?
I mean...
You've probably seen me in an ice pick
I was just
somewhere.
going to say, the only way that could have been any better is if I had a small quarter pipe in here for you to sit in an ice pick while you did it.
That's true.
But, you know, it is what it is. Maybe that should be a goal for one of your upcoming interviews. Like if you did a 15 to 20 minute one, is just pick. You, like the person sitting on the deck in a chair with the mic and everything set up. You just roll up the quarter into an ice and just do the whole interview, just chatting with him and then just drop in.
What happens if you mess up?
It's hilarious. It makes it even better, quite honestly.
I think
like if you get jello legs and you can't fakey out, or you can't even ride away. I didn't mean fakey.
I'm more worried.
I was just thinking of John Quartz's comment on his Instagram post the other day when he went in fakey and jello legged.
Yeah.
Or concrete legged. I don't know which it is.
I don't remember, but yeah, that'd be funny. I'd be more worried about falling backwards than being tired.
It might actually be even funnier if it was mid-interview that you just kind of gave out.
That needs to happen. Who should be the interviewer?
I don't know. I mean, Sponge is a good candidate because you ride with him all the time. But
Marcus would be funny.
It needs to be someone that can actually like mess you up by making you laugh or something, so that it's like actually pretty sketchy and you've got to do some focusing and correction.
Yeah, Marcus would be good for that. Maybe in midwinter? No. Your face says it all.
Well, no, I was still thinking of like the mess up of like just ending up sliding down the quarter pipe or something stupid, because it's going to be something dumb if you mess it up.
Oh, definitely. It's either going to be right or no mess ups, or it's going to be all mess ups, because that's the way it works. So let's talk about something productive. I feel like we just talked about a bunch of nothing.
I kind of like it.
If you're still watching, thank you.
This podcast is about nothing. My pretty much format has been like, how do we know each other? what are you up to lately, and what do you have going on in your near future? Like, what's your foreseeable thing? But I'm also totally open to taking it in any direction, talking about anything at all.
Gotcha.
So
I just remembered my 2 things that I wanted to talk about. We actually just went and watched the movie Glass. Highly recommend it. 9 out of 10 for me. What do you give it?
It was good. I was missing a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I didn't watch the previous movies.
So
but whatever.
you should. You don't have to, but you should watch Unbreakable and Split.
Yeah, but regardless, we just came back from the movie, so we aren't doing this as soon as I get here. But I had 2 things I wanted to talk about in this, and one is Pittsburgh might be the worst driving experience of my life.
Really,
coming into Pittsburgh. Going down the hills and up the hills, and traffic stop and go, stop and go, stop and go, and there's only one way.
What time did you come in? 5 o'clock.
7.
7. Yeah, you're right.
It should have been slowed down, but it was. But so there's that, and then I was on 376. Is that the road?
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone ever rode? There's like a curved berm thing. You know what I'm talking about? That you could gap to the road. Has anybody ever done that?
Is it even possible? Plenty of them all along that whole road. Has a bunch of weird berm things like that. So I actually don't even know which one specifically you're talking about.
I saw one that was in the grass, and if you were going to do it, you'd be going to the left, and then at the exit of it, there's like a sidewalk that I don't know if you could even get speed to go over it, but it looked like what you could do. All right, we're going to picture this. Berm to the left. Gap to the sidewalk. It looked like you could hit the berm, come out of it, and land, like gap over the sidewalk into the street. But it would be far, like 15 feet far. But it also looked like there was some kind of neon light on it at the same time. I don't know. I saw it and I was like,
there's a whole bunch of weirdness all along that highway.
It looked awesome. And I just wondered if anyone had done it before.
I don't know. I actually kind of suck at Pittsburgh spot trick history. I would say ask Brad.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, dude, somebody needs to do this if they haven't, because it looks amazing. If it's even rideable.
How fast do you need to go probably to make it work?
Oh, Jesus, dude. Because there's another one similar to that. If you're going south on 77... once you cross over 70 and you hit the first rest stop, if you stop at that rest stop, there's a concrete berm like in the grass at this rest stop. Yeah. And we stopped and rode it one night at like midnight, and you had to go so fast just to make it around it. So like if you're gonna hit this thing, and it looked like it was made of stone, like stone slabs like you'd see on like the wall of a building or something. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know if it would be possible. It might be too rough. But it was sick.
Just go faster if it's rough.
376 coming into Pittsburgh from the west. Definitely got to check it out.
After you've gone through the first tunnel.
Yes.
So it's like pretty in the downtown areas where you're talking?
I don't remember. No, it was before the tunnel. It was before... I'm trying to think, because there's the tunnel that you go through that comes out into Pittsburgh.
Yep. And then
it was
there's
before
the
that.
Tunnel.
No, it was before that.
Okay, so you're like south of Pittsburgh then. Then I'm not thinking of the same spot on the highway you are.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. We'll have to look at it on Google Maps or something. Spots. Hit it if you know it. Post a video because it would be amazing. Seriously, it's crazy.
There's some cool hips up under like the 28 inner like little highway too.
Nice.
But they're all wonky.
Mm-hmm.
I know people hit them, but I don't know to what degree.
Yeah. It's just stuff like that, man. I don't get super into like the whole let's just go out and ride street thing, but if I see something like that where there's a specific thing like I want to ride, that's what it's about. Mm-hmm. For me anyway.
Yeah. Not me lately.
Well, I mean, it's only 15 degrees outside.
Well, I'm not saying like this week. I'm just saying like in general.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have been like kind of in a lull of, I don't need to do anything at the moment. I don't feel like I need to push anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just been kind of coasting along and
that can be sick too, though, because when you do that, if something pops up and you're like, "Oh, I want to do that,"
yeah,
and you're like, that's when the switch gets flipped on. And you're like, it's happening.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like Tate Roskelley had a quote. This would have been a handful of years ago. He was talking about filming stuff, and he's like, I don't know, I just don't. If it doesn't inspire me right away, like I'm done fighting with spots to try finding something to do here.
No doubt, yeah, dude. That's like the thing about it. It's like, and this, you could look at the same concept when people go to like a famous flat ledge spot or something. You're like, feel like you're like trying to force your way into doing something on there, and it's like I'm the opposite of that. It's like I just let it flow, and wherever it goes and whatever ends up happening, that's it. I'm not going to be mad because I didn't, like, whatever I was originally thinking didn't work, or I was going for something, and then you just go for it. Yeah. It doesn't relate at all to the whole flat ledge thing I just said, but
I mean, one of those things. In general, though, like any spot, if you're not inspired by it, then, like,
it's kind of like work.
Yeah, it's just not that fun to just force yourself to be creative or force yourself to do something you don't care about.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I've gone to places and been like, well, I know I could do this, but I've done that trick everywhere we've gone so far. Do I need to do it?
Right.
Like, if I was like, well, I could crank flip that 3-stair in between this trick and that trick, and it's like, or I could just not. Like, we all know I can do it. It's not like it's gonna be debatable of could you have done that, and like
you're literally describing me and sub rails anymore when it comes to foo-fa-noos and ice picks and double pegs. I'm like over it. Like if I go to a park and I see a sub rail, I'm like, I know I can do that. I don't even really care anymore.
Yeah, unless it's like different. If it's like set real far back or
totally a different
too
story.
Tall for what it's really supposed to be,
yeah,
then it makes it cool.
Totally different story. And at the same time, I go to a new skate park and I'll still do that because I'm like, well, we're here.
It's better warm up.
Yeah, well, we went to a park in South Carolina called Port Royal Skate Park. It's a covered park by Hilton Head, and they have this spine mini. On one end of the spine mini, there's a roller, and like the deck of the spine mini is like 6 or 7 feet, and then that butts up to like a 7-foot mini vert ramp-ish type deal. So like that butts up to that, and then the railing for that is what is against the railing or the back of the mini ramp. So it's like a 6-foot deck to the railing is the railing for a 7-foot quarter pipe, so it's 6 foot
overhead.
It's like 6 foot high on like the normal end. Then there's like an extension, and then there's like an extension. So like it's 7 foot on one side, then there might be 8 foot, and the railing goes up with it, and that lines up perfectly with the roller. So this is like a 6-foot deck to like an 8-foot railing, and I tried to double peg this thing for probably an hour, and I could not get on it. Like, dude, I pushed it, and there was one time where I got onto it with the pegs, but it was like you hit it and then just let go of the bike and grab the railing because
it's so frustrating.
It was not gonna work. And yeah, eventually it just got to the point where I was like, dude, this just isn't going to happen. If I keep going, the way this is going, it feels like it might be possible if I get everything perfect. But I've fallen a couple times. The bike fell off the ramp and got a flat. Like, it feels like it's probably going to end up hurting me before I would ever even get the trick. So I just was like, this sucks, but whatever.
Well, and then you're not even factoring in, like, you'd get up there and you got to pull 6 feet back to a quarter.
I don't know. I'm not worried about that part just because I'm pretty confident in that. And being 8 feet in the air, you kind of have the distance.
It's balanced out, but it's a long pull to come into a weird ramp or something.
If you cased, you take an hour to get on the pegs one time and then case. Can you imagine? That's like the worst. I wouldn't. Oh, I'm glad I stopped trying. Just thinking about that now is frustrating me.
Yeah, well, and you would have been up there, and as soon as you landed in it, you just think about it, too. Any of those tricks that you finally land in, and then you're like, oh, yeah, I gotta come down from this now. Because you can't just take the warm-up. If you've taken that many tries at it, you can't just pull off to flat to see what it feels like. You're like...
Not from 8 feet in the air, too.
Totally should have done that before I ever caught one.
Yeah, dude. Sometimes it happens. The moral of the story is you got to know when to walk away.
While you can.
While you still can walk away. Yes, that's the truth.
Yeah, I haven't pushed myself like that. I just haven't lately.
It'll happen.
The last one that I really wanted was this pole jam up and over 2 chains.
That sounds scary.
And it was in a kind of twisted and crooked I-beam that had been hit. So it's an I-beam bent over, like, pretty steep. Mm-hmm. You're only catching this much tire because you're like in the I-beam. So it's kind of canted. You're riding up the beam this way, and the beam's still overhanging. So you're dragging tire sidewall.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. And
anything to do with a chain is
then there
always...
were chains coming off both sides.
That stuff. There was a dude that skated in Worcester. He tried to ollie over a chain and it caught and cracked the back of his heel.
Not cool.
It was bad.
I don't really like chains, but that was one of those ones I'm like, someone needs to do this. And I'm like, I'm someone. I'm pretty into pole jam stuff, so why would I say someone else needs to do this?
Yeah. That's the other thing, too. Whenever you come up with trick ideas all the time, you're like trying to pawn them off on other people because you don't want to be the one to do it. Sometimes you got to be the one.
Yeah. I don't know. I like having certain people that you can pawn stuff off to.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
I remember we were on one trip, though. I think it was up to Binghamton, just to back up home. But Brad came on it. And he said he wanted to hit a massive rail or something. So we're just like, check that rail out. Like, every single place we rode past, I'm like, there's a big rail. And the whole crew was just telling him. And by, second day, he's like, I don't even want to do one anymore. You guys have totally ruined it.
That's funny. That is way funny. I'm going to start this for anyone who's wondering why I'm getting up. I'm starting a YouTube live right now to promote this as it's happening. Hopefully we still got it. All I got to do is unlock the phone and push go.
Are you in the screen? Your butt's in the screen.
My butt.
You should have probably wiggled or something.
We're live. And we're live. All right, we're live on YouTube. So basically what's going on is we're doing the GrindWorks Podcast 008 right now. Andy Vargason. Check out the link in the description to the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Plugs. Check out this channel that we're on right now.
Yeah,
that was already awkward.
Well, I did just start with the last episode. I started uploading audio only version, so I guess we can plug Anchor,
which will probably be on YouTube somewhere in a description too for anyone who wants to find that.
Yeah, and Anchor pushes your audio only version to Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, any of the major podcast streaming sites. So I believe you can just subscribe to it via one of those.
Nice. How's your podcast experience even been so far? Is it good?
Yeah, I don't even really care. Like, that's kind of the nice thing, is that I have no goals or expectations for it, so it can't be bad.
I feel like you gotta care to a certain extent, though.
I mean, yeah, like, I'm trying to do it well enough.
Yeah.
I don't want to just be all shaky like this the whole time.
No, that was another earthquake.
And, crackly bad microphone or something. I'm like, I care enough to get decent equipment.
And you want to make something that people like you can enjoy. We a boy band now. Yeah, that's the thumbnail. That's funny.
That might have to be the cover screen. I hope we
do it again
at the same
time. We're so stupid. We're BMXers. We're big kids. That's the way it is.
Yeah. And at that, you should probably cut your promo.
No, we need a little bit more time.
No cutting the promo?
We need just a little bit more time.
Instead of making eye contact with you while we talk, if I just stare real awkwardly at your promo.
I wish I could read if there's anything going on right now.
Extra weird. Just...
This is
my
awkward.
head's just falling off now.
So, helmets. I don't know.
Helmets?
Yeah.
I got one. I can put it on.
No. Is it right here?
Yeah. In the closet.
Oh, that's too much work.
It might be.
Should we talk about something controversial?
No.
No?
Alright, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What's something controversial but safe to talk about in the BMX world right now?
Opposite versus switch.
Calling things that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's a pretty cut and dry thing.
Yeah, but everyone's wrong.
I feel like the opposite is where you're doing a trick normal footing but spinning or throwing to the opposite direction, and switch is switching your feet to the other foot forward. Well, then I got it right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cut and dry if you ask me.
Yeah. But, how many times do you see, like, switch whip or switch pegs?
I always say switch pegs, so...
It's not.
Whatever.
You do switch crank flips, though.
I do. Well, sometimes. I can do both.
But, like, out of grinds or stalls or something, I know I've watched you half back pedal or something. And then
I think that makes it sicker, though.
Well, it's the trick, is you're doing pegs, half back pedal to switch crank flip.
That's too complicated. Pegs, crank flip.
I know, it's just because you're weird and you do it goofy.
That's how I learned it. Crank flip, rolling crank flip was the first trick I ever did or learned. Ever. Pretty psyched on that. Rolling crank flips, aside from just doing an endo.
Yeah.
That I feel like that doesn't count as like the trick. Because it's just, But rolling crank flips and doing bar hops and just riding it until I fall to my feet. I never jumped back until years later. Those are the first two tricks I ever. Also, aside,
I know a bunch of people that did. I mean, a lot of people learn rolling crank flips first, but
yeah,
I guess the duration of time that you do them is kind of an identifier.
I still do them all the time.
Do them and then do the pull the bike up thing.
I do that too.
That's super fun.
I do that one too. I like doing them into a bank, but not pulling the bike up, just rolling crank flips so that when you come off of the edge of it, your pedal clips the corner and then it slows it down enough to land on it. I think that's sick.
You should do super modifiers, like no-footed can rolling with a crank flip in it.
I used to do that all the time.
Superman.
That's one thing I was just thinking of whenever I said bar hops and crank flip rolling. I used to do rolling Supermans and rolling no-footers and rolling no-foot
Rolling
cans.
Supermans need to start happening more.
Do you want it to be a thing?
I think you should do some tomorrow.
How do we make that
Not
a thing?
your tomorrow, but our tomorrow at the Winter Welcome Jam at the
Wheel Mill. Now they know when we recorded this.
I don't care. I mean, it's not. You're doing it live.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You ruined the secret when you went live.
Oh, dang it. You're right. I hope you guys are enjoying this.
They're probably not. They're probably like, this is the most awkward conversation we've ever almost been a part of, because they're like off on the side.
Yeah, I wish I could read comments. I guess we could have pulled it up if we were more prepared, but we're not, so whatever.
I mean, I could tappy tap tap over here and...
It's okay, we'll just roll with it.
Can I? Hang on. We're actually going to do this real quick.
Alright, so basically what he's doing right now is being Jamie from the Joe Rogan podcast. So I'm going to say, Jamie, can you pull that up for me?
Yeah, well, see, that's what having a producer is. But
yeah,
we don't have a producer because we're...
Well, we don't get...
We don't get
a million views per podcast either. Did you watch that Gordon Ramsay?
Shout out your...
It's...
thing.
It's my name. What's my name?
GrindWorks Podcast.
3 people watching?
3 watching. Alright, where's this chat?
Oh, you gotta mute it or we're gonna...
Yeah, we do.
Oh, there's a lot of people going on here.
Mute. Alright.
Anything
so
good?
We got people chatting.
Any questions? You guys can ask questions now and we'll make questions a part of this podcast and it'll be a whole thing.
Yeah, I haven't really been...
What are you doing over there?
You'll see. I'm going to zoom it in.
Oh, nice. Okay, so...
is it newest comments at the bottom?
Yes.
Is that the way it goes?
Yes. Interesting. So there's people talking in my comments of this live stream about
what's going on?
About Winter Welcome Jam. Nice drinking water. You're going the wrong way, man.
Yeah, I know. But the problem is, I gotta turn this on so that it's in the podcast too, right? Monitor.
Interesting. Oh, you're putting it into the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Alright, so is top or bottom?
The bottom. Nice. Drinking water on a Friday night. Some might frown upon that, but I dig it. Well, news for you is that this is something we could actually talk about, because I haven't.
So I can't see this now.
That's
fine. You're going to be rolling with this.
I got this.
It's your people anyway.
Yeah, so...
You're just not looking at them, which is funny. They're going to have to come here to watch this.
Yeah, well, this is the whole point. You're supposed to come to the podcast to check out what we've got going. But one thing, because someone commented on drinking water on a Friday night, one thing I really haven't talked about at all is that I don't drink or smoke or do any of that business. I mean, I did talk about it a little bit in the other podcast I did, but not really in depth or anything.
Right. I mean, I'm gonna say me either.
Yeah.
But then if you watched episode 6, I have like a beer in it. But I think it's still like, it's not that I don't drink at all, but I just don't really care.
Yeah.
Like I had that beer in my fridge for probably 7 months. Uh-huh. One beer. And I just like, I don't care. And then Chase was over to film it and he's like, you care if I have a beer on the show? I'm like, no. And that's a perfect excuse for me to get rid of this.
That's funny.
So.
It's actually not updating at all. I'm not sure.
Why is it not updating? Someone comment real quick just to see if something.
I feel like someone would have by now.
Because, like.
It hasn't moved since you put it on there.
Yeah.
No, like the chat hasn't.
Yeah, the chat hasn't moved, but everything's
something
updated.
Just happened. Alright, I think we're probably good. You might have to move down a little bit. Hopefully.
No, because look here's your.
Yeah, but that just moved up. I think that there's going to be something under that. Yeah, there we go. Yep. All right, there we go. We're live.
Yo.
So if you guys have any questions for us,
so that was my mistake.
Things you guys want us to talk about for this podcast, that would be kind of cool, I think.
Yeah, right? Possibly. I mean, I don't really care, but...
Well, you've stated that you don't care already. Anything
I don't care if you hate this.
Going to the jam. Yes, we're both going to be at the jam. He said it fine.
Jam.
He's saying jam. All right, I feel like this is just annoying at this point. Well, anyways.
Yeah, see, well, that's why I've never done the live thing with it, because all it's going to do is distract from real conversation.
Right, so we'll ignore that now.
We can't. Now it's up.
Regardless. What should we talk about?
Well, I'm going to poke at you for a minute and just say, why are you such a douche?
We talked about this.
I know.
I don't know why, man. I don't know.
It's just the way you are.
Yeah, I guess. It's just the way I am. I guess. Some people are just bad people, I guess.
Alright, we can leave it at that. I know you didn't really want to talk about it, but I have to make the joke.
No, it's okay. We can talk about anything.
Well, then if you want to go there, I'll let you lead into it. But no, like, historically, you have, like, you either have people that are really friendly with you or people that just absolutely can't stand you. And there's not much middle ground. So it's like, I asked the question that way because it's funny.
I feel like there is a lot of middle ground, though. It's just the silent majority.
Well, like, your hair's stupid, but you're helpful. So.
That was a comment earlier on YouTube that I got. Which, at this point, my hair is a gimmick. You know, it's me, but apparently it's my gimmick, and it gets people talking.
Whatever.
You know, if you think about it, though, like, completely unintentional, because I've had this hair for 10 years now, with it as far as the gimmick thing goes. But when you think about it, a lot of these really famous, huge BMX people, or just people on the internet in general, have a persona. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, who could you use it as an example that wouldn't be mad about it? People just like
a persona on the internet.
Yeah.
Let's go with Kareem.
Yeah, totally. You know that like Kareem and his Kareem's World thing, like maybe he does act like that all the time, and that's just him. But that's also a reason why he's like, why people like him.
He's a personality.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. It's a personality type thing. And I feel like at this point, my hair is making me into a personality. Even though
your hair's not as stupid as some people may make it out.
And you know what's hilarious about that? Like, every single person who's talking crap about my hair, who's over the age of, let's say, 23, 24. If you're 24 and older, you've ridden BMX for at least 10 years, you probably had similar hair to me 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This was the cool thing to do in 2006. This in a little headband or a bandana. That's just what was cool back then. But now everybody's following the new trends. Well, not necessarily. How many man buns are there in BMX? Not very many.
Thankfully.
Yeah. So, I mean, but trends move on and whatnot.
You know what? At this point, like, I haven't had hair for, I'm going to say 15 years.
Yeah.
Probably more than that, but like that's just a good half my age number.
Yeah.
Not to give anything away. But if for whatever reason it were to grow all back in, I would go through the most crazy phases of hair that I could do just to do it. Just because I could.
Oh, absolutely. That's funny.
I'd probably have a sick mullet.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you grow a mullet all of a sudden? If you went from
15
this sick
years.
hairdo for 15 years,
yeah.
And then you could just grow hair.
Oh,
I would have a mullet.
Absolutely.
And you guys would all make fun of me and say, your hair's stupid and your podcast sucks. But your crank flips are cool.
And your Supermans.
They're mediocre. They're never straight leg.
You have to do a turn down tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I remembered.
I know.
Normally I forget these things because I have the attention span of a freaking gnat.
Turn downs are easy enough. I don't do them a lot.
For you,
but
maybe.
That was the first trick I learned.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I still can't turn down.
I mean, alright, so other than like 1-footers.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, like the first, I would say, bike manipulating trick.
I guess you
I couldn't do X-ups.
And you were coming up probably when turn downs were like.
Well, I was riding trails.
Yeah.
And I was racing. So I was getting into like just doing like style whips and stuff, and then at the point that I'm completely sideways over a jump, I'm like, wait a minute, all I have to do is this.
Right.
I'm just a 90-degree bar turn away from a perfectly good turn down.
Yeah, dude.
So I was like, okay, I'll start doing that, and then I learned them.
That's
and then it was like 2 years later that I learned X-ups.
That's so crazy because I still can't turn down after riding for 12 or 13 years. I've done them and I've gotten it clicked. You ask me to do a turn down right now and it will be like unclicked and terrible.
I mean, I do a lot of those too.
Still.
I've done them for, I don't know, I was like 13 when I learned how to do it, so we'll say awesome. 17 years.
That's awesome. That's more than I've been riding.
And I've never probably done one past just parallel tires. Like,
still being able to do them consistently.
But I've also never tried. Like, I got so used to just that snap feeling that I never am like, I need to just crank it more, you know?
Dude, I wish I could turn down seriously. If I wish I could turn down so bad that I'm stuttering. It's that much. But with that being said, I'm going to end this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring this over. This is his setup. This is Andrew Vargason. Yep. Check out his YouTube page in the description below for his podcast that he's doing. Are you going to upload anything else to it?
What do you mean? Like the YouTube channel?
Yeah.
It has our commercial from our props DVD.
In the future, are you planning on doing anything else with it?
Yeah, I want to. There might even be some jam footage.
There you go.
Because normally I record that stuff and then put like 3 or 4 minute long cuts on Instagram.
Right. Yeah.
Or I have a Vimeo page too that I've always put the jam edits and stuff on.
Yeah, you put it all on YouTube.
Dude, I will have this conversation all the time. I prefer Vimeo so much.
Right.
As far as like the support and stuff that they give and the way that the pages work.
Yeah.
But I just hate that there's no audience.
Yeah, well,
and
it's not a search engine.
YouTube sucks, but it has 1 million people watching it at any given point in the day.
Yep.
And your stuff might actually get seen by like 20 people.
Right. So with that being said, in the description is a link to check out their GrindWorks YouTube page.
I need to figure out how to close this magnifier.
I'm going to get rid of
all over the place.
We're going to get out of the whole YouTube thing. Sorry for the interruption to anyone watching the GrindWorks podcast. We're out of here. Thanks for checking it out.
Can you shake that around? Look at how wild that looks. It's just all over the place.
Sorry, we're checking that out.
Uh,
Anyways, though, I might go live at the Wheel Mill tomorrow. Not sure yet, but thanks for checking this out.
You just lost a viewer.
We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, are we still... Everything's good. I didn't mess with anything.
We're still recording.
All right. We're all good.
Boom.
Sorry about all that, because that might have been cool. Maybe you liked it. Maybe it was terrible.
It's all freestyle, man. Let us know in the comments. It really doesn't matter.
Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe. Like, follow, subscribe.
We're just having fun
comment,
with it
comment.
At this point. You know, we could talk about the whole YouTube thing.
Yeah, we could do an entire podcast of nothing, which is almost what we've done. I don't know.
I feel like we've talked about a few things.
We have.
And I feel like to move the controversial train along nicely, we could talk about YouTube and vlogging being controversial. And
is vlogging controversial?
As far as like people hating on it, yeah.
I mean,
it's less and less now. I feel like it's...
There was a good bit of hate for it. But here's the thing. If you want to talk about it a little bit, I've always looked at it as... Like, you started out with full videos.
Yeah.
And we'll go to, like, VHS videos.
Yeah.
And I know that you and I have had this conversation on multiple levels with Montana Ricky.
Yeah.
VHS video is the prime video. You can't skip parts of it easily.
Yeah.
So you watch it start to finish. You see the project in whole as it was intended to be every time you watch it.
Right.
So there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you move to like DVD projects, and now people start where you can start skipping over stuff.
Yeah.
So you're still getting a full video as it's intended to be seen, but you can also sit at the home title screen and just watch Aaron Ross's part.
Yeah. And
then you skip 2 people and you watch the next guy's part, and you take it out and put some other video in.
Yeah.
You end up with a bunch of extra stuff, bonus scenes, stuff like that. People like watching that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you ended up with the artsy videos where there was a lot of travel and trips and like different cuts where it was less and less riding focused.
Yeah.
So the vlog is the perfect natural evolution of that.
Well, I mean, I would also say that a vlog...
And day in the life stuff. Because remember, Props always did...
That's what I was going to say.
Props
was a vlog. Props was a vlog.
It's just a well-done vlog.
Well, yeah, and it's a vlog of a longer period of time. And it's not the person himself making it. So basically what vlogging in BMX is someone making props for themselves, of themselves. If they're recording, riding every day and whatnot. If it's obviously there's some people who are more of a vlogger than they are a rider, I would say. There's a few people like that on the internet. But when it comes to people who are filming riding and life stuff, I would say it's kind of similar, but being put together yourself. And that's where I guess you could say that the whole not self promo, but like being into yourself kind of thing mentality could come into play. But if that's what somebody enjoys, I don't know, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, it's just not always enjoyable to watch.
That too.
But
so don't watch it.
No one's making you.
Right. So don't watch it. That's my whole mentality is I don't understand why there's so many people who hate when they don't have to pay attention to anything,
Yeah, well, but like even if you have an annoying personality, like you can still produce interesting content.
Yeah.
It's when you do nothing and you vlog every single day of your life and all you did was get up, brush your teeth, and you vlogged yourself brushing your teeth again for the 483rd day in a row. Which, good for you, you're brushing your teeth every day. Then you going to the store, talking about what you need to buy at the store while you drive there. Coming home, quick 15-minute session in your driveway, and then the rest of your day, and you're like, why is that a thing?
Because people are different, and someone wanted to make that.
I mean, it's Snapchat.
Yeah. That's another thing. How many of you people out there who hate on vlogging are on Snapchat all day long vlogging your life? I'm curious. Let me know.
All of them.
Seriously. I've never even made that connection.
Or Instagram stories.
Yeah, I've never even made that connection. But at the same time, when you ask why do you need to do that, no one needs to do that. If someone enjoys it and other people enjoy watching it, who cares,
Yeah.
It's like people can do whatever they want unless you ride BMX. Then you have to fit this box that's this big, and if you go outside it, you better be one of the select few that BMX has chosen to be allowed to do that. Because there's only a certain few that are allowed and can be accepted.
There's a controversial topic that you want to talk about.
What?
Just like the exclusivity. Like who's getting promoted? How has the come up changed since its inception? Where it was about people coming up and then they started getting paid sponsored ads by companies, and now how many pro videos are on there from select companies or select riders as opposed to what the whole original thing was here's Joe's video out of nowhere town, Ohio, and he did some cool things in it.
Yeah, I feel like too though the come up kind of is falling off a little bit, or at least tapering off. So they're just not posting as much. But so on the other hand, but you could look at Ride similarly, and if you look at what Ride's been doing lately, they've been posting a lot of random people's videos to their YouTube page, like natively uploading it specifically to their YouTube page rather than just reposting it on the website, which is awesome, I think. And it's something I wish that they would have done a long time ago. And it does nothing but help everyone involved because it gives Ride and their YouTube channels content every single day because they can fill gaps with random people who are really good and deserve it. And they can give that person probably 10,000 views versus the 200 that they would have got on their video otherwise. Yeah. And it's awesome. And I think that it's really great that the company and the BMX media outlet that is doing all of that is the biggest one right now. Like, it couldn't be any better than that.
Well, it's like they switched roles.
Kind of.
I mean, not in like a real quick reversal, but like, I don't know. It's just kind of what it seemed like. Like, I really liked the come up when it first became a thing. And they had the forum and everything. Like, that was cool.
You know what it is? It's that the rising tide floats all boats. Ride is doing everything. They're making bike checks with professional riders. They're going on trips. I mean, they might not necessarily be for Ride, but Jeff Z and Ryan Fudger, the two main dudes at Ride, are going on trips and filming and documenting trips for companies that will later be posted on the website if it's not uploaded directly to Ride's YouTube page. They're doing that. Sometimes, I mean, they used to do how-to stuff, but what else do they got? They got the Feeble Talk, so they've got pro interviews. Then they've got these amateur videos that they're uploading to their YouTube channel. At the same time, they're posting those amateur things. They're helping me out and posting BMX news, so that's an all-encompassing thing of everything for the entire week.
I know, so you've had like tons of stuff. You've just had a lot of coverage all around lately.
So it's like
you've had BMX news on Ride. You've had a lot. I mean, historically, Lip Lord stuff ends up on Ride and makes its way around.
Yeah.
Real quick, your steering geometry one get on there?
Yeah, pretty much everything that I send Kurt, he posts on Ride for me. So shout out to Kurt at Ride.
Because, I forgot he works at Ride now.
He basically posts everything I send him. But what I was saying is that, like, the rising tide floats all boats. Ride is doing everything and promoting everything while at the same time getting paid and promoting paid brands. And they're doing it all, everything. And guess what? They're growing. They're the biggest BMX media outlet that there is right now. And they're not promoting the negative BS like the Come Up used to. The Come Up was cool, and it
went downhill when you had to tie a Facebook account.
Yes, that's what I was just going to say. The Come Up was cool back whenever you could talk crap about someone without revealing your identity. That's what people were drawn to, and that's what people in BMX are drawn to. And it's just, I just made that realization that, like, Ride is promoting everything and trying to do as much as possible to just maybe their goal, obviously they're a company, so they need to make money.
Well, and they are, though. Think about if you're going to post your video and they were going to share it to their website.
Yeah.
They're making money on the clicks on their website.
Yep.
If they upload that video to their YouTube channel, they can monetize it through YouTube for every view it gets.
Depending on if it's got depending on the music.
And they can get all the hits on their website for monetization. So
it helps everyone.
If you get more exposure.
So it, like, you could argue that uploading to their YouTube page might take away from a little bit of something that you might get for doing it personally, but the return that you're getting for allowing them to do that and letting them reap the benefits of it is you're getting that 10 or 15,000 views just because Ride has so much of a following versus 200 of random people's videos that get posted when I see them on.
And your monetization on those views is like nothing.
You won't be able to do it anyway unless you meet the requirements. Yeah. So most people who are uploading an edit, and most people who are uploading an edit aren't using cleared music, so they aren't able to monetize it anyway.
Yeah.
So like, it helps everyone, and I didn't really ever think about that yet. That's awesome.
Yeah,
it's gonna be cool to see where it goes.
I've been liking the stuff Ride's been doing, with an exception that I just have a personal beef with.
What's that?
Headlights.
Oh, you were gonna do that. He doesn't like that they didn't make a solid DVD version of it.
It's a glorified web edit. It's nothing more.
But when I read something, Mike Mastrone's interview. Yeah. I think that the funding for it, and it said it was an iTunes only project. Mm-hmm. So I think that was. I bet you that there was something in there that might have had to do with
I don't know about that, because there were comments from people involved that said it was evaluated and determined it was not economical.
Yeah.
But they could have ran it on pre-order.
Yeah.
Pay $20 a DVD, $15, whatever you want to charge. Mm-hmm. $15 would be reasonable. Pre-order only. Give it a little sticker pack with it or something. A little extra incentive on the $15.
Yeah.
And you only make enough to fill the pre-order plus 5% or something.
Yeah.
And that way you can have exclusive limited extras, but you don't guess and make 5,000 DVDs and maybe only sell 2.
Right. Well,
you fill the void, but
whatever determination. And also
my thought on it is, how long is it going to last? Because I'll go pull out a video out of my collection that's 10, 12 years old, throw it in, watch it. I'm not searching for web edits that are more than 2 years old.
One thing you got to think about too there,
with exception of Jason Levy.
How many people are there out there who are like you, that are like, I would say that there are way more kids getting into BMX and kids in BMX growing, like if it's even growing, who knows. Mm-hmm. But I would say there's way more of them getting into BMX than there are people like you who would value that DVD and pull it out later and watch it. And the people like you, I would say, are probably tapering off.
Yeah, but I would think about it from the person producing it too. Like, you have to value your own work. And it's a glorified web edit. The problem that's going to happen is you sell a bunch of them on iTunes. And this is going to happen with a DVD too. So it's not like it's that different. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's going to be there to grab in 10 years.
Yeah.
But it's going to go up on the iTunes or whatever, Microsoft Store, all those, for sale. You're going to watch it once or twice on your digital download. And then it's going to kind of fade off. And then as soon as they're not selling anymore, they'll throw up a section online.
Yeah.
Check this out. And then they'll get a couple more sales. Next section goes up. Couple more sales. Next section goes up. Till the whole video's on there in parts. Then they upload the whole thing in whole for free.
Sounds like a DVD anyways.
And there it sits. Right, but you never come back to it if it's just a web edit.
Make your own DVD out of the video you bought. Don't sell it, or don't sell them. Just burn a copy on a DVD so you can say, I've got one.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was also a question in that interview.
But then, like, right after that comes out, Merritt drops a DVD.
Yeah.
That you can't watch online.
That's funny. Which I guarantee will have a fraction, will be watched a fraction,
Probably.
I can't talk. It's going to be watched not as much. That's what we'll say.
It depends on how you hype it. I feel like that's a big part of it. It's only $5.
We'll never know. We'll never find out.
Yeah.
I don't think companies
really care.
Release. Yeah.
I mean, it's just that I'm not, I would buy the DVD. I'd pay $20 for it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it costs on digital download. I wouldn't pay $5. And it's me being an old grouchy.
Yeah, this is all your personal
mid-school bike rider. It is. But it's still like, I hold value to that.
I'll give this one to you because you're reasonable when it comes to everything else.
Okay.
You can have this one.
Fair enough.
Most of the time I'd try to argue the point like, well, you gotta think about this and this. I kind of did that already, but we'll give you one.
Yeah, I mean, it's just saltiness.
It's okay. You just want a DVD, that's all.
I do. I want to have to do the extra little bit of work to put it in the player and sit right here and watch it anyway.
Where I could have just clicked on iTunes anyways. I got put it in my Xbox and pushed the buttons.
Yeah, but alright, so do I want to take that or re-download it when I go like up to New York and my friends want to check it out? Or do I just want to throw the DVD in my bag?
I don't know.
I'll haul a DVD collection around.
No, you won't.
I've done it.
You're lying to the people.
Nope. Ask Cameron or Sam.
I want someone.
I will roll to New York from here with like 10 or 12 DVDs.
Well, yeah. I mean, like all the time. The way I just took what you said was like I will roll around with a DVD collection.
No, that would be
anytime
stupid.
And all the time.
I'm not just pulling them out on a whim like, oh, you guys, check what I've got in my back pocket right now. And you're like, why would we want to, like, where would you even play that right now?
Yeah. But you could pull up iTunes on your phone and watch Headlights right there.
Nope.
You could, though.
I could.
I'm just saying. You don't need a DVD player to watch it on your phone.
I don't want to watch it on my phone.
I know.
All right. So,
moving on.
How many edits have I watched in the last year?
I don't know. 0?
That's not true.
I was just making a guess.
I watched probably Cam Gervin's street edit, Cam Gervin's Florida trip, and Brad Gibbs' Florida trip.
You didn't watch mine and Catfish's split video?
Nope.
I'm hurt.
I've seen it a bunch of times. Scroll past, and I'm just like, I should probably watch that.
I'm hurt.
And then I talked to you about coming out and doing this, and I'm like, I should probably watch that. And then we went and saw Glass.
I'm hurt.
I did watch the Power Ranger edit.
Yes. There was a lot of people that had bad things to say about that.
Of course there were.
And it was hilarious.
Did you have fun doing it?
Yes. Oh, you're right. My bad.
So you were in the wrong.
My bad. I forgot.
This box right here.
This is the BMX box. This is my box. No borders.
See, my box is pretty big.
Yeah.
It sounds dirty, but hilarious. My box is pretty big, and the only thing that's outside of it is web edits.
That's funny. Jesus, man. That's pretty hilarious.
And calling Oppo Switch.
That's okay, too. You're reasonable, though. That's the thing. I feel like so many people just aren't reasonable about things. Well, it's because
if you do an Oppo tail whip,
mm-hmm.
You're doing an Oppo tail whip. If you do a Switch tail whip, you're doing a Switch tail whip. You can do an Oppo Switch tail whip. Which means...
Those are my tail whips.
Everyone that says Switch when they mean Oppo...
What do you mean? Wait, okay, so So Oppo tail whip is with your feet normal?
Mm-hmm.
And you're just spinning it opposite.
Yeah.
According to this dead horse that we're beating.
Yeah.
And so what's a...
I mean, Tyler got blocked by Mark Burnett on Instagram for a comment about that. He said he switch whipped something. He's like, no, you didn't.
What?
So apparently it's a big deal.
I don't care.
But who started it? Who started saying switch when it was always Oppo?
I've always said that. I always mix them up, but I try to, like, I like being proper when I say things, but I don't care.
But, like, the discussion comes down. You could start calling it switch if you wanted to, but you actually have to adopt front-side, backside then from skateboarding. Because it would be based on stance.
I have a question mark over my head right now. Cause
it's okay.
Let's get rid of the dead horse.
Alright. Push it aside.
Yeah.
We'll only lash it a couple times. You wanted to talk about controversial things, and that's how they always get, is they're like, no, I'd rather not.
No, well, we already talked about that one. That's the thing.
I know, but it came back up.
Alright.
Because we talked about it.
Well, let's move on. We're going to call this the controversial one. The controversial podcast. Because I live streamed from my YouTube channel in this podcast. Then we talked about DVDs and web things, and we talked about a lot of controversial things.
Then we went back to Oppo and Switch.
Yeah, we need to move on. What's up? What else is controversial? I like this. This is fun.
Controversial.
Because we're not being negative about it. That's the thing. We're not over here like, oh, I hate that.
3 pegs.
Is that controversial, though?
Just put the 4th one on.
Some people got short.
Your heel's not hitting. Your heel doesn't hit on the one side, it's not going to hit the other. You just got used to it not being there.
This is controversial for him. You hear this? Jeez. I don't care.
I'm just saying. Like,
yeah.
Like, you clearly got used to the one back peg being there.
Yeah.
So, unless you're running a 170 crank arm on one side and a 180 on the other, I don't want to hear your argument. You're a liar. Put your peg on.
What if I just say I don't want it? I still run 2 pegs.
That's cool.
What if I put on a 3rd one? You wouldn't like me anymore?
Put it on the back, please.
You know, at one point I had only 1 peg on the back.
Just so you can do rocket manuals?
This is a sore subject.
Rocket Foofanus?
PSA. I can't manual. Period. I can manual over a box jump, over a pyramid, sometimes.
I think that you need like a Brant Moore 2 account on YouTube, and it can just be parody stuff that you like make fun of yourself for. And you can do a how to manual video, and it's just everyone's like,
if I had the time, something like that would be funny. Seriously, I would love to do something just funny like that. Making videos is fun. But I don't have time.
I like editing videos, which is why I never edit any of these.
Oh,
which didn't make any sense. But,
yeah, that was an oxymoron.
But it was funny, and that's why I said it.
Well, I feel like at this point we probably could have cut out the first 40 minutes of this.
I mean, we could just delete it and start over and have like a normal podcast, but I actually don't.
No,
I'll beat this dead horse. I don't really care.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do more than one of these
because I feel like personality is important, and like we're just being real.
Yeah.
So I don't like the whole like playing a character thing.
Yeah, I don't either.
And it's actually, I know the episode hasn't aired yet, but I was talking about it yesterday when I recorded the podcast with DJ. Also giving you a look into the frequency with which I'm recording these.
Yeah.
And the frequency with which you get to see them, because I'm hoping to build a backlog until something cool comes up, and then I'm like, oh, cool, so like episode 10 should be out before 7 now. Great, now I just got to dump all of
right.
these.
But anyways, playing a character.
Yeah. So we were talking about like the like, follow, subscribe thing, and like it's painful to me to do it because I'm not that guy.
Well,
I don't care.
Well, listen, I was exactly the same way. When I first made my YouTube channel, I wanted to be successful without talking to the camera. Like, I wanted to be the dude who made videos, never talked to the camera, never did any of that stuff that everybody always hates on. And I wanted it to work out, and then it didn't. And the reason why is because there's no personality there. When you don't talk to the camera, people can't connect with you. But one thing that you have to think about is when you're doing something like this, or you're making videos on YouTube and you end up talking to the camera, like you have to for a podcast, what you need to realize is that when you say commenting, subscribe, I mean, liking and commenting, not so much. That's just a way to interact with people. But when you say subscribe, or you tell people when things are going to come out, you need to do that so that people know where and when to see your stuff. Right. If you want anyone to watch it, because people need to be told. People are dumb. They don't know. Sorry, people.
YouTube alone is just like, it'll take you in weird left turns.
Right. So if you don't tell someone that, they might not have that thought, and they're already clicking on another video, and then later on they're like, oh, I liked that. I want to go find the other one, and then they don't know how, and then you're like, oh crap, and all you had to do was mention it so that they know.
Like, oh yeah, I should check out the other ones.
Right.
The subscribe.
Right. So there's it's a utility. It's not that I wouldn't consider that.
It just feels so cliche and corny to do it.
And you know why?
But I've built it up that way in my head, and I like almost have to do it sarcastically.
I'll also tell you that the reason why it feels like that right now is because you don't have a consistent base of people who are coming back and seeing your stuff yet, who you're interacting with on a regular basis, to feel like that's who you're talking to and feel like you're actually reaching people. But once you get to the point where you have people, you know that there's going to be people watching this, you're feeling like you're actually talking to a person, not just like, all right, I have to say this now.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe. And I feel like that's also not so much playing a character as doing the job that you have to do to make your stuff get out there.
When I don't know who's watching, so that also kind of makes it hard. Like, you do so much live stuff that you get a feel for at least the people's names that you talk to.
Well, and a lot of people comment on a regular basis. There's so many people who maybe are watching this right now. I mean, we've got the Jay Parrish, Chris Gold dude from West Virginia. Who else is there? There's a lot of people. Trenton is a name. TES is one. There's so many people who comment on all the videos and whatnot. You just get to know people and you're talking to people. So basically what I'm saying here is, if you're making it this far in this video, he just said that he doesn't know who's watching. That's because you aren't commenting. Let him know if you've enjoyed it. Let him know what to do to make it better. Because you can't really do that. And if you're walking through the room dark, blind, and you have no idea where you're going, you're going to bump into stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird.
Tell me how you found this, too, because here's the thing. This is only the 8th episode. Yeah. So, in my eyes, I can look at how many views each one has, and it's not about the GrindWorks podcast or me as the host, which this is never really supposed to be about me. Yeah. But, obviously, to have a real conversation, a lot about me comes out. And probably a lot of repeat stuff. But so what? Anyway, I would expect that, like, the people are probably not going to come to episode 8 because they're like, oh, I wonder who's on the show next. Yeah. They're going to see something and see, oh, Brant Moore's on.
Oh, here. Right. You're not to the point yet where people are watching it because of
it. Yeah. They're watching it like, oh, this person's on. I know who they are. And that's cool. Like, I fully get that. And there's always going to be that. But, yeah, I don't know if there's a consistent base. And if there is, it's probably like a small local contingency here. Yeah. And maybe a couple of my friends from Binghamton.
Well, I promise you that you're going to probably get a couple of the people that watch my stuff regularly in here just because...
Brant promised. See, now you're obligated.
If you're here from my stuff, comment and let him know. Because I don't look at it like fans or fan base or whatever. Like, I call it friends because... feels weird to say fans, and I feel like all of these people kind of are friends through the internet and talking to them, and you're probably going to find your own people like that who are commenting. You're going to recognize it, and it's just kind of cool. And at that point, you're talking kind of to those people. Podcasts are a little bit different because obviously we're talking back and forth, and like if you have some random person who's not involved with the internet or whatever on here. They're not going to be talking to their people like this. But I don't know. I feel like what I was trying to get at earlier is like the whole like comment, subscribe stuff. I feel like that's not putting on or having a personality or being a personality as much as like, I'm not going to say names or anything because the last thing I want to do is throw shade. And I believe that people can do whatever they want anytime they want. It's freestyle. Life is freestyle. BMX is freestyle. I don't care what you do. But one thing that you see is if someone notices a camera's on them, immediately you can see their actions and attitude like shift to what is seen from them online. And there's personalities that are like that in BMX, and if that's how you're successful, freaking go for it. Like, yeah, that's cool. And that's the kind of thing that I look at and I'm like, I don't know, that's just because I'm all about being yourself. Yeah. And if that's not your natural self, then
we were throwing shade in episode 7.
Yeah. Oh god.
Well, so I'll recap and you guys can go watch episode 7 if you're just here for Brant. But DJ asked me, why do you not like Nigel Sylvester?
Oh, you don't?
I don't know him.
So you can't say... that's the answer. So, that is the proper answer to a question about someone you don't know.
But here's what I said. And in a summarized version, he had really legit parts in some videos back in the day. Animal All Day, to name one, and then like a bunch of clips. And he was coming up. Yeah. He was doing progressive stuff. And then, since that point, he took his opportunity to make money out of BMX and has done, like, the hip-hop culture thing. And because I have, like, the deep-down passion of BMX and what I believe it is when I grew up, and, like, what inspires me about it and everything, I feel like it's exploiting BMX just to make money instead of just doing you. But it's awesome. Like, he gets to go all over the world. He does his Go videos.
It's funny how you have like, both perspectives of that at the same time. You're like, I don't like the
I get it. I just don't like it. So I don't have to like it. But I don't hate him for it.
Right. And that's the way people need to be. You don't have to agree with everything someone does. And you don't have to agree with anything anyone does. You don't have to care.
And I said that he and Adam LZ are exactly the same in that regard. I don't like the way that he has taken what he did and just, like, he turned it. And it's okay. You can totally do that. He did it. He's very successful at it. Both of them are very successful at what they're doing. And I'm happy for them in that regard. But I'm just not into the content. And I don't have to be. You guys can hate this video. So give it all the thumbs down. Don't give me any thumbs up.
That still counts in the YouTube algorithm. So
I know. Don't give me any thumbs up. I want...
Hey, we don't want that on this one. Don't do that on this one. Because I don't want people to be like, oh, I hated this. But, one thing you got...
But if they watch it anyway... They'll be like, oh, so it's like negative.
Yeah, but nobody's making it this far, let's be real. I always make jokes like that. But anyways.
If they made it through the whole first part, they might as well have stuck around.
So anyways, I would say though, I wouldn't say that he exploited BMX. Because here's what you got to think about. There's a difference and there's a separation between BMX and Nigel Sylvester riding BMX and what he did. It's not like he took, like, what am I trying to say? It's not like he took, some, how do you even say that? He took himself and his skills on a bike and used that to hustle his way into kind of being I wouldn't call it a celebrity because he's not that huge yet. But he made his way into being super successful and not having to worry about a job or any of that. But he didn't use like BMX as a whole to do that. It's not like he used...
No, it's not like he's using anything else, but like everything he does has the element of BMX in it. And here's the other side of that. I fully get that it could be good for BMX because it draws in tons of other people that may not see it otherwise.
And you know what I would argue? I would argue that is a totally another and valid aspect of being a professional BMX rider, because how do you define a profession? Take BMX out of it. Define a profession.
You're getting paid to do it.
It's what you...
And you're representing whatever you're doing in a positive light.
And
he's doing that. So, like I said, I just don't like it. I don't like the content.
I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying, like, what he did, even though he's not on the cutting edge of BMX and pushing it anymore, he's still being a professional BMX rider because he's taking his skills and what he knows and he's pushing it in a different direction, like to make money and be successful. And that's more professional than some pros who ride.
Well, here's another side to that too. How long can you send your body off of a roof into a parking lot and slide 30 feet on the ground when you mess up?
Till you're 25, maybe.
How long can you just do hop 180 bars riding down the street and pedal through traffic with a GoPro?
Forever.
That's right.
And that's totally awesome.
You know, let's take our positive skill set and turn it into a career, not just a job.
Seriously, and I feel like that's a separation that a lot of people don't make. And it's like, when you boil it down to that, it's like, I don't even understand how someone could hate on that. How could you even be like, look at what Nigel and everything he's done and be like, oh, I hate him, other than if you're jealous and you wish you could be where he was at.
Yeah. Oh, I can do 180 bars. How come I don't get that?
You know what's hilarious too? There's
how many people say that?
There's so many other older people who are his age who are probably sending themselves at a younger age, who are working their day job every single day, and all they're doing is 180 bars, and they're not getting anything for it. And I mean, I guess you shouldn't have to get anything for it, but the fact that he is awesome.
Yeah.
It's sick.
I mean, I think it's hilarious, all the hate that goes his way.
Yeah.
Because I see both sides of the street, and, like, I'm not against it.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. And
right.
Like, it's kind of, I don't really want to go this way, but it's like politics in the sense that it's like you can't see both sides.
Dude, BMX is nothing but politics.
Well, I know, but I'm trying to not go that particular route.
For being real, we gotta say it at least.
If you aren't a fan of Nigel, whatever he's done,
yeah,
then it's like, oh, well, you must hate him. And I'm like, no. I totally respect his hustle.
That's just the culture that we're in today.
Like it.
That's literally just the culture we're in today. That people, for whatever reason, act like if you don't like one thing a person does, you just have to hate that person. And it's gone so far as to people who are further away, like as far as like the things that they do that people don't like. It's gotten people to where they hate them so much that they try to get them fired and kind of basically get them thrown out from wherever they're at in life. And I think that's crazy. And you know what? BMX is the same way, and it has been. Mm-hmm. How many people can you think of off the top of your head who have done something that other people didn't agree with and ended up blackballed from BMX for it?
There's one real good big name that I can think of.
There's
one that we all know.
How many
semi-locally?
How many can you think of though? There's several.
Yeah, but there's one big one that always comes to mind.
And it's kind of crazy that like that's even a thing. Just because people don't have the same views as someone else, they get cast aside and cast away. And it's like, I personally feel like that happens to me sometimes, just because I try and be so positive and try and just be so freestyle about everything that people like don't like me for it, and I don't.
Well, I can give you maybe a hair of insight into that, because before we really knew each other, your hype that you put off on a general everyday basis sometimes can come across as sarcastic. When you don't know someone and they're like hyped for you, you're just like, I don't get it, man. You just being a dick, or like...
Wait, you mean someone's that I don't know is excited for me because they're excited for everyone? I don't understand this. This doesn't happen.
Because it's the culture.
And
of like, if anyone's doing that, they're being a dick.
And it's crappy that happens. And I see that all the time at Rays, where people, like, I was literally going to make a Facebook post about this, but I try to not post negative things, but it's like, I hate, here we go, going into the negative. But I'm saying it. I hate whenever there are people who are selective about who they're excited for. Whenever you, like, and what you'll notice is that if you're at a skate park with a big group of people and they're different, that big group has several groups from, like, other places or something, you'll have someone who is killing it way harder than someone else's friend, we'll say. And then that friend goes and does something that they do all the time. And that friend is the one who gets the claps and woos rather than the person who's killing it and doing crazy things. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that it's like, I don't know where I was about to go with that. I'm not trying to say that, like, it's a competition or anything like that, and that the person who's doing crazier stuff should be more clapped for and whatnot. But I hate whenever there's people who just won't clap for someone doing something awesome, just because I'm so psyched for everyone doing everything.
Here's the example I've been using, and sorry to keep using this example, both to listeners, viewers, but also to Tyler. Mm-hmm. But my example has been, if we're riding at the wheel mill, and Tyler barred the spine, I would be way more hyped for that than I ever would be for Cam doing like a 720 double truck over the spine or something. Because it's like, it's not something he does.
Yeah.
So, I think some of that comes with understanding your scene and the locals, but like, if someone's pushing their comfort zone to do something, you have to give props to that. And
but one thing too, though, is that's a little bit different in that both of those people are part of your scene. You're friends with both of them, so you know,
right? You
know that what they're doing is like, so whatever. But when you're at somewhere like Ray's, and you know that people don't know each other, and they're just not hyped for someone because they don't know them, regardless of how crazy what they're doing is, that's like a stigma in BMX that just needs to disappear.
Yeah.
It could go away tomorrow.
I notice it a lot more out there than I do at the wheel mill.
Just because there's probably...
I guess Pittsburgh's always seemed like it's pretty friendly,
And you know what it is, though? I will go on record saying this because I frankly don't care anymore. Every time I go somewhere outside of Ohio, people are way cooler. I'm not... And literally, we went to a jam in Buffalo with Kevin. Mm-hmm. And that jam you were at...
We went up to it, too.
Brendan and I left that jam both like, dude, people in Ohio suck sometimes. Just because it's like... And no... Like, not trying to offend anyone who is... If you know that isn't about you, basically you know who you are. If you think that that's about you, and it might be about you, it probably is, because people who aren't like that know that they're not like that. People who are positive are positive. But back to the point,
I'm pretty salty, but I get it.
Right, you kind of understand what I'm saying. Like, we left that jam like, holy crap, people are so awesome here. It's awesome. And granted, at the same time, that scene that jam probably brought out all the positive people and not the negative ones that you would see locally all the time.
There might have been personal beef going on that you just didn't catch because you're not in the clique.
Right. But at the same time, it was like, man.
But Ohio BMX seems like it's a lot cliquier than...
It is.
Then I would say Pittsburgh in general. Like, Pittsburgh has its different crews. Mm-hmm. Like, there's, the trails guys. Yeah. There's...
Everyone seems to be friendly with each other.
There's just a lot of scene. But it's all Pittsburgh. Yeah. And, like, Ohio, you've got a lot of scene spread out. Yeah. But it becomes, like, this town and then this town. And it's not just... It doesn't all center back to the same place, I guess.
Yeah, and that's kind of what makes it a little bit understandable, the things that we've been talking about. Yeah, but
we all ride bikes.
You're right.
And you want to even go further than that? We're all going to the skate park for fun.
Yeah.
So, like, take our original sticker of fuck scooters and who cares?
Yeah.
Because why are those kids going to the park?
To have fun. Literally, I will preach this all day, every day. I don't care what you're on. If you're having fun with it, then what's it matter? It doesn't.
As long as you're not sitting on the ledge.
Yeah. If you're... Obviously, skate park etiquette is a factor in this.
Sliding down the bank ramp.
Yeah, like, obviously that is a factor. But at the same time, one thing you do have to think about is with most of those scooter kids too, maybe not most of them, but probably some of them at least, they probably haven't been taught or told.
No.
So if you think about anything in life, if you go to do something and you don't know what you're doing and you haven't been told,
you're not going to be good at it.
You're going to have no idea. You're not going to have any idea that this is the way it works. You don't sit here. You don't stand there. You don't go when someone's going. You just don't know these things. And if no one teaches you, you can't expect it. And that's why I feel like a lot of older dudes actually try to sometimes teach people. There's like a clear line.
There's a difference between the people that like will roll up to the scooter kids sitting on the ledge and be like, hey guys, look, we're all trying to ride this.
Yeah.
I see you're coming at it. You're grinding it too. So why would you sit on it when you're not going?
Yeah.
We're all riding it.
Right.
Like, if you want to stand around, come over here, sit on the side of the park.
Yep.
Wait your turn. Like, we'll all go in turns.
Yep.
But it just doesn't really work like that a lot of the time. Everyone just goes, get off the ledge. Mm-hmm. Go home.
I'm guilty of that,
it's not
too.
A playground.
I want to go back to my whole thing of my kind of Ohio sucks thing. I'm sorry. See, I try to be friends with everyone, and that's I feel like another one of those things, but like, I want to be friends with literally everyone. I don't ever want anyone to be mad at me for anything because I want to ride with every single person. I want to be excited about every single person doing things. And sometimes I feel like I can't do that because of the way certain people act. And that's kind of why I feel that way. Yeah, when I go other places.
You can't change other people.
Exactly.
Like, no matter what you do, I'm always going to think you're a douche.
It's because I am. It's because I am.
But no, let's talk about the, you're saying... being excited for other people riding.
Yeah.
But again, let's take that to everyone that's at the park. You've got a bunch of kids all going to the skate park. Scooters, skateboards, bikes, rollerblades, ripsticks. Mm-hmm. Whatever the heck you're on there.
Yeah.
Like, if someone does something cool and it's not on a bike... and you just sit there and snub it off because you're too cool to clap for a skateboarder that did a cool 5-0 grind across something. Like, I don't know, man. You're just perpetuating problems that don't exist. Mm-hmm. Like, Thrasher perpetuates problems that don't exist.
Yeah. I don't know too much about it, but the whole, like, don't wear Thrasher unless you skate thing.
Well, they'll print right in their magazine about how bad bikes are and don't let them in your skate parks.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. I don't care. I guess it's probably because I grew up at a skate park where most of the skaters can hit the spine and the hips on a bike, and most of the bike riders can drop in and go over the spine on a skateboard. Mm-hmm. That's just the way it was, and everyone was excited. We even had a scooter kid, like, freaking 10 years ago. We had a scooter kid who was doing 540s and stuff, and it was sick.
It's very touch and go around here, where you're at. Like, one park, everyone will be super cool with each other.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next park, and if someone rockets their board out and you put your foot out to stop it, they'll be like, don't you ever touch my skateboard again.
Really?
And you're like, yeah, okay, I'll just let the nose chip off when it ran into that ledge then.
Yeah, that's
And you're going to
crazy.
look at me and go, man, you could have stopped that.
I've literally never experienced any of that. I think that's probably because I try and put off the most, like, approachable, happy vibe possible.
Yeah.
I'm just, in general, a happy person like that. Man, that's crazy. I don't know what I would do.
That's when you just, like, stomp the board, and then
break it in half,
then you leave.
Smack him over the face, get an assault charge, and end up in jail for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Cool. Now that we got that settled.
No, but I mean, it's like, why? Why act like that?
Man, some people too, like, some people are just angry, and some people use skateboarding and BMX as a way to brush that off. I don't know. People are all different. That's another thing you got to think about.
Yeah.
Some people are angry, some people aren't.
Well, and some days you just don't know, like, you might be at the skate park trying to be your normal happy self, but, like, you could have had bad news on the way to the park or something. You could just be totally bummed out, and all it takes is the one person to rub you the wrong way that day, and you're already just, like, right on edge, and all you do is yell at someone over nothing, and then you're like, hey, man, sorry, but you already gave a bad impression.
Yeah.
And people the next time someone sees you, they're going to be like, oh, I heard he yelled at that guy.
Yeah, I think people in general could be more compassionate towards other people, just in life. Like, we all have that road rage. I mean, maybe we don't all have it, but, like, where somebody cuts you off and you're, like, ready to get out of the car right then and be all mad about it. But it's like, sometimes, regardless of the situation, you have to take a step back and think maybe that person is having a terrible day. Something bad just happened. They're on their way to something bad that's going on, and you just don't know it. And I feel like some people, and I'm this way too sometimes, we're just so self-entitled to, like, our area around us that we don't take into consideration or have compassion for the people who are around us and realizing that they might have something more important than us just getting to the skate park when we want to get there or wherever you're going. I think that we just have to think about that sometimes.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I've been posting and trying to hype up the winter welcome as much as I could. Without being annoying about it, because it's not my jam. I mean, we're sponsoring an event at it, but I mean, even my jam, I try to only post about it every other day or so, because it gets annoying. But I kind of derailed my own train of thought with that one.
It'll come diverted.
Back. No, I was going for...
You got this. You got this. Where's it at? Weird faces.
I don't know. Totally derailed.
Uh-oh. Anyways.
You know, like, the modem sound? Like, dial-up modem? Yeah.
You've got mail. If you're old enough to know that, then you're awesome.
That's probably the only reason you stuck around.
Yeah, you're awesome. So anyways, where were we going?
Yeah,
Be more compassionate towards people. Think about both sides of the hand. I think that a lot of people don't think about the other side of things. And
I got it now.
Oh, you're back? You're back? Okay. Yeah. Anyways.
All right. So where I was going with that is when I've been promoting it, I've been, like, posting a poll or something like, I'm there or I'm lame.
Yeah.
And, like, people... Instead of answering I'm lame or something, they'll DM and be like, I gotta work, man. I'm like, well, that's cool. Like, you gotta work. It's a bummer that you couldn't get the day off, but, like, of course you should be going to work. that's your life. So, like, yeah, you want to be at the jam, but you have to maintain your quality of life and provide for your family or something. Like, of course you do.
Where are you going with this?
Well, that, like, obviously I'm making the joke about, like, having to choose between being there and being
I get
lame.
what you're saying. People might be thinking
that if they're not there, I totally think they're lame. And I'm like, no, man, like, everyone has their own life that they have to deal with.
Yeah.
So it's based off your compassion thing.
Yeah,
I'm glad my internet started back up in my head. It just took a little while to dial back in.
Nobody get on the phone. We're going to get cut off. Yeah, I didn't get what you were saying at first. So I was like, what is he going on with? Okay, I get it, though. Yeah, and I mean, that's also a whole thing of you got to think about both sides of it, because someone might have read that after having a bad day or after getting the news that they have to work, and they don't think about that it might have been a joke on your end.
Yeah.
And we're just such zombies to our phones. I'm the same way. I'm super bad about being on my phone. But we're such zombies to the electronic internet, to the internet, basically. I feel like we don't think enough about things. We'll fly off and say things before actually thinking about it. And I've completely changed my approach to the way I act towards things on the internet. Like, I stopped responding to all negativity pretty much. Just ignore it. Delete the things that are too over the line, you could say.
Well, yeah, you gotta have standards.
But I used to argue with people online a lot, like, about the dumbest stuff, man. I mean, I saw some things pop up recently where I was like, Jesus, I said that? And I think that's another message that people need to understand is, like, just because you might have had a bad experience with someone 5 years ago, they're not the same person anymore, and you have to like, you don't have to, but you should, like, just take people as who they are when they are, and don't let a bad experience ruin someone for you for the rest of your life.
And nothing is black and white.
Yeah.
Like, you're not always good or you're not always bad. Like, there's a huge gray area of, like, oh, he's a good person, but he had a bad day. That person really sucks, but they do nice things for very selfish reasons.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of that goes on. Both of those things. Just have to be more compassionate to people and think about those things a little bit. Man, we got soft in this conversation. But it's good stuff to talk about, because I feel like this stuff doesn't come up when it comes to BMX. It's like this totally, like, this is the path that you have to take, and we don't talk about these things, and we don't talk about these things, and these things are the things we do talk about. You're not allowed to stray away from that.
Well, you're not allowed to... See, we're like a whole crew of negative people, but then we're not allowed to talk negativity either. Like, I know that sounds really confusing, but we've been talking about how negative everyone is. It's all, like, insults or put downs, and then, like, whatever. Or saltiness among people. But if it comes up, it's, like, taboo to even talk about it. It's real weird.
Yeah.
Or...
I get what you're saying.
Well, I'm thinking of a specific example, and I'm not really trying to blow anything up, but it's going to be very obvious to, like...
Well, yeah, don't do that.
But
I get what you're saying, though.
Well, so I have a close friend
who
was on a very...
Stop it!
He was on a road trip video.
Stop it! Stop it! Don't do it.
And when they filmed their, like, outros of, you know, how did the trip go and everything.
Yeah.
It was recorded, like, you know, I had a lot of fun on the trip. Wasn't really what I expected it to be. Probably wouldn't do it again if I was asked.
Mm-hmm.
And was handed a scripted answer to read for the video, and that's what's in the DVD.
Huh. So what about this? I forgot totally.
Well, it's like you can't have any negativity.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I understand.
But that also, like, kind of changing directions with that whole subject. If that happens once, it's happening all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And how are we being misdirected at what's cool or what's not cool? It kind of comes into, like, the who's being shown on different edits, and you said the exclusivity thing, like who's getting promoted and why, and you know why is it so hard to break into something like that? Like, because it's being
a box
controlled,
because it's a box,
and
it's the box.
Yeah, it's just weird that that's a situation that comes up and is real.
Yeah, I would have never guessed something like that. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming this is to do with a company. Or maybe it doesn't, but, like, I would think that they wouldn't want something like that in a DVD about something like this.
No, but it's not like it was saying it's the worst trip I've ever been on. Yeah. It's just that it wasn't for
that
person.
That's a tough one. Yeah, but there's a lot of that goes on, and there's a lot of, I mean, obviously anyone watching this knows that there's a specific style and type of riding that is BMX right now, and what is being put out there. Aside from your, like, exceptions, I would say, there's always going to be specific exceptions. You'll have the dudes who go huge and gnarly, which is why people like Sean Burns are still big names in BMX, because there will never not be a place for that. You'll have the trail dudes like Clint Reynolds. Clint Reynolds is always going to be a big name. There's never not going to be room for him. But when you boil it down to the most popular, biggest stuff right now, it's a lot of similar stuff. And I don't understand why, other than marketability. And I feel like BMX has this model maybe, and they don't go outside of that model very often
because it's hard to market it. Like,
I don't think so. I think that's total BS.
I think it's hard to market outside of the box, because if you can take a model and then follow trends, you can anticipate trends and be the next thing.
That's what leads to freaking.
If you're going like this,
that's what leads to colored tires being cool rather than innovation. Because you're like, oh, we're just gonna change the colors and we're gonna sell all this. It's like, I don't believe the whole marketability thing, because companies decide what's cool. Companies decide. That's why big bars were a thing. I heard of stories of so many people who didn't really care for big bars, but companies were like, put these on, this is what's going to be the thing now. And then it was. So I wonder if free coasters were the same way. If they were like, here, put on free coaster.
So I have a theory on that. And it's the same as take Odyssey Twisted PCs are a good example of, they came out with a new colorway every 3 months.
Yeah.
Now, how many kids were breaking their twisted pedals, or how many kids were just retiring them to get the new cool colorway?
Right.
So you've got that. It's just constant income, cash flow.
Yeah.
Then bars were going up by 0.05 inches from, 7 3/4 was fairly normal. 7.5 was fairly normal. 8 was considered tall.
Yeah.
And they went up 0.05 or 0.1 or just whatever. They crept up there and would come out just a little bit bigger every few months. And, S&M's making the biggest bars. Oh no, Primo just made bigger bars.
And this is an exact argument for what I was just talking about.
It is.
Because companies decided.
To keep cash flow. And they decided to keep doing this game of like, well, how big will someone go?
Yeah, and literally,
and then tires.
It's only because companies
wider.
Well, I think tires are a little different because tires have utility for what's actually like cool right now. Tire rides and stuff. Bigger tires with low PSI are easier to tire ride.
Yeah.
Which that's like a totally different thing. But all of that being said, all of that is happening because the companies are saying it's cool. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is marketability in people is total BS because all a company has to do is say that someone outside of the box is cool and what they're doing is cool. Literally right now, and I wish this would happen, a company or a couple companies or BMX in general, as far as companies go, could just decide that next week brakes are in. And a bunch of people would probably put their brakes back on. Chase Dehart, I bet he would put brakes on just to do it. Mm-hmm. And he wouldn't even have to be like convinced to do it. And like, I bet you brakes could become a huge thing the same way that free coasters did whenever they did. Mm-hmm. And all it would take is companies being like, this is what we're doing now. Mm-hmm. And you know what? If anyone from a company is watching this, think about how much money you would make because no kids have brakes right now and they'd have to buy the brake set, the cable, the lever, the gyro. Come on, think about it.
The splitter adapters because you only got one cable guide on your frame and you got to go around.
Like, yeah, I mean,
for your dual cable setup, London mod, that's what it was.
Yeah, that if you're gonna get the gyro set up, yeah, like literally. Why aren't they doing that? Why hasn't that happened yet? They did it with the bars, they did it with the tires, they did it with cassettes or with free coasters. Like, I don't understand why it hasn't become a thing. Make it cool for brakes to be.
If you want to talk brakes real quick, I always thought it was funny that Animal sold the brake cable.
That is kind of funny because they're all based around
No one on their team at that point in time had brakes except maybe Stephen Hamilton.
Yeah, he's probably, well...
And I don't know at that point, he might not have even.
How long did Chase ride for them? Was it when he was in his street spine days?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
It was when it was kind of their like really crusty base crew, like the OG Animal. Had the Animal linear cable, and they didn't sell brakes. They didn't sell brake pads. They didn't sell levers.
You know what? I had one, and you know the only reason I had it is because the color matched my bike and what I wanted. But
it was just such a funny product from Animal, and I just had to go there real quick because you were talking about brakes and making them cool, and I'm like, but that never made any sense at all.
Yeah, well... They would have to have riders with brakes to do that. Yeah, it's because the powers that be.
Plastic pegs are cool because they're replaceable. And now you have to buy stuff every couple months and create cash flow again.
And we made it cool to grind 100 feet on a ledge. I mean, maybe that's what people were doing at the time, and like.
I mean, I'll grind 100 feet on a ledge.
We all know you can do that. But some 14-year-old kid who's watching someone do that
it's in a video. It's not a grind, it's a slide.
Whatever. We're not going there. We're not going there.
Controversial topics.
Yeah, we're not going there yet because we're still talking about this whole thing. And like that was another one that I totally skipped. And if you think about all of these things, how many of those have happened at the exact same time?
None, because it's not profitable.
No, we do it in phases and we go one at a time because we need you to buy stuff. And that's understandable. I totally get it. BMX companies need to make money and setting...
Fork offset.
Yeah, that was another one. I mean, that's...
Steeper head tubes.
That's all the
shorter
time.
Back ends.
Yeah.
As soon as the tires got too wide, now you got to buy a new frame to get the wider.
Oh my gosh, man. We're about to get texts from every company like, you better shut up right now.
Yeah, it's going to be like the memes where the FBI is listening in or whatever, but...
Yeah, delete that right now. But it's true. And
it's the BMX Illuminati.
And it's just total proof that the whole being marketable thing is BS, because all it takes is the companies in BMX saying that it's cool.
But there's one thing that you got to take note in there, is it's slow trends. It has to progress. So if you went and took the 1.85 tires were cool, and then threw a 2.4 at someone, they would have been like, what is this? Or if you threw 10-inch bars at someone that was on 7.5 inches,
I don't know, man.
I don't think you could have pushed it.
Let's go back to when Mike Aiken was the king. Maybe he's still a king. Okay, we don't want to offend anybody. But let's go back to when it was the height of Mike Aiken. If they threw 10-inch bars at Mike Aiken and he liked them and put them on and said they were the best thing ever, it would have happened overnight.
I think it would have been harder. It's a hard transition to make.
It is, but there's so many people out there who are like, I want to be Mike Aiken at that point in time, that they would have done it. And there's people right now and riders out there right now that kids are like that with.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it is. And that's the way I think all hobbies, sports, passion, obsessions, lives. I'm obsessed. I need help. I think all of them are like that. It doesn't matter what you're involved in.
Yeah. I mean, it's always like more of something.
And it's true. Talked a little bit about that in the podcast that I did recently. It could be like, I just think all it takes is BMX saying certain things are cool, and then it happens.
Yeah. But I do think it's like limited things you can kind of change that way. Peg length, actually. Remember, if you look at old Primo Stiffies or something, they were like 5 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got shorter and shorter, down to having profile tofu pegs.
Half a peg.
That were like 1.5 inches or something long. Then Animal made those nub nuts for a while that were not even pegs, but you could grind on them smoothly.
Right.
And then they've been back up to teetering on the 5-inch range. I mean, we made 5-inch pegs at custom order.
Yeah.
I've been running them now for a handful of months. And I actually, just to Brant's right, have a set of unwrapped 4.5s that are going back on. Because personally, I believe 5 inches is too long. I definitely am not a fan.
I have 4.5 right now. I have never tried anything longer.
So, I like doing a lot of super tight tranny stuff and kind of diving into like weird things on walls.
Yeah.
The 4.5s, I can dive into pretty much anything.
Oh, do they get...
The 5s,
they scrape?
I clip. And I scrape a lot. And
that makes sense.
I gotta come in steeper.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's to the point where I have to come in steep enough that I can't tranny in properly.
Right. Because you gotta go more straight rather than at an angle.
Yeah, and you just kind of crater out. So, like, I've kind of stopped doing stuff like that.
I feel like that's kind of...
It's... Like, I don't clip them on things, but I feel like I'm going to clip them on things, and then it makes me hop from further away.
I feel like that's, like, kind of I wouldn't call it a trend. I'm looking at the bike that you see in the background of his picture, just, like, imagining things.
But that's my old one. That one's got the 4.5s on it.
But what I'm saying is, like, I feel like that's natural progression of, like, BMX parts. So, like... frames used to have really long back ends, like, and the geometry of them was just way different than what we have today, and we've naturally progressed to something that is like more suitable for like everyday riding and just general riding. And obviously you're going to have things move away and towards what's cool, as we just talked about. So like the shorter rear ends and steeper front ends.
Oh, like responsiveness and stability in steering. Go watch Brant's video.
Yeah, I've talked about that in the video, but like what I'm saying is, I don't think we're never gonna go back to like terrible frame geometry that makes it hard to ride a bike.
We're going tomorrow.
No, we're not.
Mid-school bunny hop contest at the wheel mill.
I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah, as like
it's not
a regular everyday thing.
You're not. No one's ever going to make. Not no one. The majority of BMX companies aren't going to be making a frame that is just not suited for riding the way that older frames may have been anymore. So I feel like certain aspects of geometry and peg length and things like that, when they're not taken to crazy extremes, are just the natural progression of things. Same with weight and beefiness. I feel like we were too beefy, then it got to the point.
Such thing.
You know what I mean. But we got to the point where things were too light. Things got too skinny, too light, so things were breaking. Then we went back, and I feel like now we're at the point where it's like, if anything's getting lighter, it's on a tested and scientific like spectrum for like it's actually
yes and no.
It's not like it was though, where just companies were in a race to make the lightest thing possible. It's like we're trying this.
You mean like when? Well, see, that might have been its own like gimmick too, like a company coming out with V1, and it's released as V1 because they know that it's untested and that they're going to have a revision to that within 3 months because they didn't do proper product testing ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then V2 comes out, which, quite honestly, at that point, if it releases at V1 and it's called V1, V2 actually failed in testing, but they had ordered 2,000 of them, and for the lead time, they had already placed the order for the next design.
See, this is stuff that I don't know about. Again, you're going to get a text in a couple minutes that says you better shut up.
This is not getting posted anywhere.
Yeah, totally not.
Well, actually, we had useless banter for the first part, so we might sneak it in.
It doesn't matter, though. This is like... I haven't talked about this in a video before, but it was kind of like what I had a little bit of a goal with my YouTube channel to get to the point where I could talk about these kinds of things that people need to know. Like this is, I mean, maybe not that so much, but there's certain things that we've talked about that maybe people wouldn't want you to talk about, but it's stuff that people need to know and think about and be informed about, and it's taboo to talk about it in BMX or you're going to get blacklisted or blackballed. And it was kind of my goal to get to the point where it didn't matter. I'm going to talk about the things that need to be said so people are informed just so people are informed. Like, I mean, there have been a lot of videos that I didn't make that I wanted to make that was like, we need to talk about this. This needs to be a subject. But there have been a couple that I did.
There's forums that you can post stuff on too that your comment's just going to get deleted. Like, if you make these statements on an Instagram post and point out a fact, they're just going to delete it.
Yeah. So
it needs to be on your own terms.
Yeah, and that was kind of the thing. I was like, I want to get to the point where I'm not relying on it so that if something blows up in my face, but at the same time, I always wonder, like, if I actually did go ahead and do that the way I've thought about doing, would it blow up in my face, or would people be so like, holy crap, I didn't know that. Yeah. Thank you for telling me that it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you don't know. And that's why there's been a lot of videos that I haven't made.
But like that whole V1 thing, like essentially, if anything is being released as V1,
yeah, you have 14 updates available.
Shut up, Adobe. I'm still running on like 2016 Adobe Creative Cloud stuff because it works. Anyway, like you just don't have to modem. Man, why am I'm tired.
V1
I know
thing.
that. Yeah, I know.
V1 thing.
Yeah, but like you don't have to release it that way, but they're doing it because it's kind of the honest way.
Well, and that's also kind of.
But like, if I was gonna make a product that I'm gonna stand behind, why would I put V1 on it?
Well, I mean, you also got to think about too. It's generally accepted that the first version of a product, not even in BMX, just in general, is going to be buggy, and that the second version is going to be better. Like when people talk about, like when Apple comes out with a new iMac, like the iMac Pro, or the trash can MacBook Pro, which they still haven't updated since 2013. Sorry. Anyways, when they come out with something new like that, like when they came out with the iPad, it was common knowledge that the first version of the iPad is going to have some bugs. So if you just wait a year for them to come out or refresh it, and you buy the second one, you're going to get a better one anyways. So I feel like it's kind of just the way things are.
Well, yeah.
It's not just BMX that does that. It's everything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
And unless you're a US based frame manufacturer, or you're based wherever, like your company is making the frames in house, unless you're in house, you might not be able to afford, like, I bet you those Taiwan companies have minimums that you have to produce. They're not just going to make you one frame, I bet.
No. And they're not going to make you 100. Well, they might. But the reality is, if you only ordered 100 frames as a large company, like they're sold out before you even get them.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to order more than you think you're going to sell.
Yeah. And right now, it's pretty clear that companies aren't ordering a lot more than they think they're going to sell, because
everything's on back order.
For example, when I was trying to get a new frame, before I got my most recent frame, I wanted the matte lavender, whatever, matte purple Sunday Soundwave that they came out with. I wanted that one, but didn't get to it in time. Obviously, it was a limited frame, so there was not that many of them to begin with. So then I was like, all right, maybe I'll just get the green Aaron Ross frame. That was like the color that I've always wanted. Like, I haven't had a lime green frame in forever, and that's what I want anyways. Didn't get to that in time, and it was gone. And it just happened to be by luck. Shout out Phil Factory and Philip Rinaldi for hooking it up. But it just happened to be the perfect time that things worked out to get the Soundwave in Surf Blue for the V3. If I would have been a couple weeks later, probably wouldn't have got it.
Yeah.
So it's the way things are right now. And I'd be curious, because we haven't really heard much about like where the state of BMX is at. You know, like a couple years ago they talked about how this is the worst it's been in a long time.
I think it's still probably very oversaturated with a lot of people producing the same thing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, as far as like,
you know,
people buying bikes.
Yeah, but I guess I'm going with like, how many consumers do you have buying bikes or buying parts, and how many companies are now producing those parts?
Yeah.
Even like in the last 2 years, 3 years, Paro, GT, like those companies are back in now, promoting BMX. So yeah, there must be some growth. But
yeah, I would think. And there've been a couple new companies.
You know, how many stems can you sell if everyone is selling stems?
And the exact same things.
Yeah.
Yep. It's totally. But I would be curious to hear, like, from someone who's actually at a company, like, selling frames and stuff and bikes, what the current state of things is. And another thing is, it's now almost February. We did that podcast November or something. Whenever we did that about the tariff stuff. And have you noticed a price increase on any parts?
Actually, no.
That's something I just realized the other day. I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure that things are about the same.
I think it's... I don't know anything about it for sure, but I don't think anything's actually happened with that.
Gotcha.
I think it passed, but I don't think... I think it's been like kind of held back and...
Well, and the government's been closed for a month, so...
We don't need them.
What was it closed before?
Controversial subjects.
Yeah, well, no. What was it closed at the new year? Because it's day 30 something. It has to have been.
Yeah, it has to have been.
So then maybe it just hasn't went into effect yet. Because it was supposed to go into effect at the beginning of the year.
But, I mean, a good part of the government's actually working.
Oh, well, whatever.
But
still, it's one of those things.
It's a shutdown.
It's kind of interesting that it was like
standoff, whatever you want to call it.
It was a big topic, and now we're there, and we're not noticing. Maybe that's also part of the whole Taiwan thing.
Well, I can tell you from general industry, though, whenever I go to a machine shop and stuff for stuff for work, they cannot hold a price.
Yeah.
The material pricing right now is extremely volatile.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, even stuff being made in the U.S., because the one company I work with, they consistently go 3 to 5% every year increase, which, covers giving their employees raises, covers cost of living increases, whatever.
Yeah.
Covers everything over the industry.
Inflation, basically.
They hit us with between 30 and 260% increases on products.
Wow.
Because of material.
So it's coming. Once all of the stock that was bought before the tariffs goes that way, that's when they're going to be like, oh, sorry, guys.
It's possible. Or...
Interesting.
Or they're quoting stuff to cover themselves in the event that stuff does go bad.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They're anticipating the worst and then profiting off of it a ton.
That's a totally, another topic for another conversation. But that's interesting to think about. And it will be interesting to see. I'm meant to ask them at the bike shop if they saw anything. But
yeah. Well, I can tell you I bought handlebars a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And they were $65.
That's how much bars have costed for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep.
I guess we're going to find out. I mean, no one was really, freaking out, as far as companies, and no one was saying anything. And
it's because it's not going to put them out of business.
Well, I'm just saying, it wasn't like there was a bunch of people in BMX going, oh, no, it's the end of the world. I think we were the only ones who even talked about it.
Yeah.
Interesting. What time is it?
Frames also, though, you're saying what are frame sales like? There's a whole other curveball in there, which is custom.
Yeah.
That people can just go order whatever they want. So, the only way you're, really pushing and selling stuff is by kind of exclusivity. You do a custom colorway. Push it every 3 months. Here's a new colorway. You sell them in blips.
Yeah.
And if you make enough that you know you will sell out of them,
yeah,
then all of that on pre-order pays for the thing up front. You've got cash, and then you can order another batch on pre-order. You can just play this game all the way along where you're dumping those, again, 3 months apart or so, 2 months sometimes. Those are ordered before the next ones get delivered.
That is so crazy to even think about. I don't even know what to say about it. It's We could start a whole other 2-hour conversation about that.
I'd prefer not to.
I know. I feel like
I don't know where we're at here.
It's 1:40 in the morning.
Actually, we haven't been going as long as I thought.
Well, how long have we been going?
Just over 2 hours.
That's it?
I thought this was going to be pushing 3, actually.
That's what it felt like.
Well, especially with how much we kind of just screwed off. And had real conversations, so...
Yeah, there was a lot. Talked a lot about a lot of real stuff in there. Hopefully people stuck around through it.
And it was the only one that I haven't followed my conventional format for. Which is good, because eventually that format's going to run out. And, it's not always entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything we should cover?
Only things you want to promote. So, I guess, forget the how we know each other. We already covered that in a way.
We didn't, but we'll have another one of these.
We ride bikes. That's how we know each other.
Yeah, okay.
Done.
Anyways,
story over.
Done.
What are you doing now? What are you doing going forward? What do you have big planned for 2019? I guess is a good way to...
In general or in regards to BMX?
Sure, both. I mean, they're hand in hand.
Well, basically, I'm continuing the whole YouTube thing, going to as many jams and if there's contests that I can get to, and traveling to as many places as possible. I got a new car. Not YouTube money. I just got a different car with lower miles on it that I should be able to be more versatile with, as far as driving somewhere and sleeping in the back on an air mattress. It'd be sweet.
What'd you get?
CRV.
Nice.
And they have a lot of room in the back. I bet that a queen size air mattress will blow up in the back of that thing. So I'll be able to take that all over, and that's kind of the goal, is to just go as many places as possible and make as many different types of videos as possible, while continuing the Tip Tuesdays, BMX news, if I can. Hate to break it to anybody, but if anything ever has to go, that will be it.
It's probably the most time-consuming one you do, because you actually have to research a few things and
kind of
put
yes
it together.
And no. It takes one day now. I was taking notes on everything and writing out everything I said on every single thing. I was writing that out the night before.
You could tell on some of them.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Because, you could tell you were just reading stuff on some of your older ones.
Right, you could definitely tell. And I changed that just in the last 2 weeks, where now I make my list of things and then I put my tabs in that order, watch them one at a time, hit the record button, talk about it, close that tab, hit the record button after watching the next one, talk about it, close the tab until they're all gone. And that makes it so that I can start and finish that in an okay amount of time, but it's still pretty time consuming compared to the other things. But let's see, other than that, in 2019, riding as much as possible. Kind of want to try and maybe push myself a little bit more, which I have been actually quite a lot recently too. Dang, just thinking about it, I learned a lot of stuff recently. That's exciting.
You have to do an interview while in an ice pick.
Yes, that's going to happen in 2019. In general, though, yeah, BMX is kind of it for me, so that is in general. I would like to escape this 20-degree weather somehow soon, if I can.
So you need someone to, hook you up with...
I need a travel budget, and
yeah. You need to be paid to go to South Carolina and just live there for a while.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? No,
or
that won't happen. But
Austin, Texas, like everyone else went to.
Yeah, I really honestly
not that Austin's not a cool place, I'm sure, but
yeah. honestly, if I could in 2019, I would like to go to California, to where the scene is like at right now, just to experience it. And like, I love riding with and meeting people, so that would be cool. What's next on your list of things? What's coming in 2019?
For me?
No, like
my question's for you.
Yeah. Your format.
Well, I mean, that was kind of the end.
Oh, was it?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my format is loose, and I don't really have right. one, and I don't care.
So what's the last thing we could talk about?
Your shout-outs. Are you getting any hookups right now? I know, like, Park Tool helps you out a lot.
Yeah.
And you use them in your tech tips, so it's like a good win-win right there.
And that's like the main reason for that. We always shout out to Park Tool.
Who's helping you out? Who do you want to shout out? Drop Instagram, follow, tags, whatever you want to do.
Follow GrindWorks BMX. Clearly.
_BMX.
That. As far as people who are helping me out, and it feels weird because I just did this in that other one, but you got Nowhere BMX making. I just blanked. Do you ever do that?
I did it twice during this podcast.
That was so weird. It was like, okay, so it felt like someone was controlling me for a second, you know, like in the video game, and then they just went like this.
So,
and I was just like, gone. Okay, anyways, Nowhere BMX. Frames, bars. They have stems right now. They make clothes. This is my signature shirt that I made a while ago. The bike rider shirt. Clothes for riding, you know, keeping me looking good. Alienation BMX, rims, my stem, C-post, miscellaneous parts, but their main thing is rims that they're known for.
Their free coaster that you don't ride.
Man, I can't be like every other brake rider out there right now. I would totally put a free coaster on for a little bit just to try it. But so Alienation, Park Tool. Then we got Brimstone Bicycles, which is a local bike shop in Canal Fulton, Ohio. Because the local bike shop in Worcester, where I live, doesn't really care too much about BMX, especially not the way that Brimstone does. They're all about supporting the scene, just in general, supporting a healthy lifestyle, and they do a lot of ultra running stuff because the main owner is an ultra marathon runner. He runs 100 miles at a time. Like, that's crazy. It's absolutely insane. He does it like a lot every year. But he promotes a lot of stuff locally in the town, and I'm lucky enough to have them help me out when it comes to any parts that I don't get through Nowhere or anywhere else that I might get them, which helps me out a lot. I literally just put grips on this morning that came from the shop. And then I have to shout out Philip Rinaldi and Full Factory again, because that's how I got my most recent frame, fork, tires, seat, brake pads, a lot of stuff that they helped out with. And literally that's the closest I've been to having a whole new bike since I started riding, which is crazy. I never would have been able to make that happen, so I've got to shout them out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Always. Shout out to GrindWorks BMX again. What else? We got to shout out Ray's just for being in Ohio and providing a place to ride, because, dude, if I had to ride Changa all the time, you might see me more. I would probably come to Pittsburgh, because that place is awesome. Don't get me wrong. Layout, sick. Things to ride there, sick. Slipperiness freaks me out. It's like, and a lot of people aren't bothered by it. A lot of people shred that place. Watch Nick Bruce ride. It's amazing. Marcus Christopher, even Marcus Wolk, who's just started riding a couple years ago, is doing triple whips and flip double bars. He rides Changa 2. Trevor does amazing at Changa 2. It gets in my head. I can't ride my best there ever. So I'd probably come here a lot more if it wasn't for Ray's.
See, I have a hard... I like riding Changa. Mm-hmm. I kind of like slippery.
Yeah, that's weird.
I anticipate it.
You're weird.
I know. I don't think anyone's arguing
I'm
that
weird
one.
too.
But I have a hard time riding Ray's because of how spongy everything is.
Yeah.
Because it's all
OBS. Yeah. That's crazy. I never pay attention to it, I guess.
It kills me. It bums me out, and I don't like doing anything there.
You know why I think that I probably don't ever notice that? Because I love riding crappy stuff. I love riding things.
I was gonna say,
terrible.
What's your tire pressure at?
Whatever it's at. If I'm riding in the Subaru King room and feel like I'm about to fold my tires over and die, I'll put more air in it. But I really don't ever mess with it unless something feels like it was about to go wrong.
So I put mine at 100 every time I go ride.
Well,
so
you're about to put a hole in the ramp just from pedaling.
Make them better, Paul.
Paul's not watching this.
I know.
But yeah.
But, I mean, Paul's a good ramp builder too, though. Every berm that he's done there recently,
they're all good ramp builders.
So solidly built. It's just that
you're not complaining about the ramps. You're complaining about the sheeting on them.
Purely the material, and it seems like it's always recycled. So it's not that it's even just OBS. It's that your OSB.
Yeah, that OBS is what we're using.
I know. That's why I say it so much that I was like, wait a minute, that's wrong.
Anyways.
It's that it's been used on 8 generations of ramps before it, and that it just doesn't have its integrity anymore.
Mm-hmm. So with that, shout out to Alienation, Nowhere BMX, Brimstone Bicycles, Park Tool, Philip Bernali, Full Factory, Ray's. Let's get to 10. GrindWorks BMX, the Wheel Mill, because we're going there tomorrow. And they have an awesome place that they support the scene with. What else we got? Shout out to BMX. That's all you need to say.
You were hyping Ride earlier. You might as well shout out Ride BMX.
Dude, yeah. Ride helps me out a lot because they post a lot of stuff for me. So we got to shout them out. Not shout out to anyone else. Yes, Kurt. That's 11. Are we going to go to 20?
Okay.
Shout out to my mom,
just,
dad,
just
Sally Mae student loans from when I went to school. No, not shout out to them because that's why I have so many bills.
All right. I think we're going to wrap on that one.
Yeah, we got to go.
It's
shut that stream down, Jamie, please.
It's pretty beaten. It's that dead horse.
It's
so
2 o'clock in the morning and we have to get to the wheel mill by 8 a.m.
To round this out, you can do an oppo switch whip.
That's what I do. Those are my tail whips.
So, oppo and switch are not the same.
There you have it.
One more.
Let's do this.
We couldn't get rid of the
Let's do my thing and cover the camera until you push stop. You ready?
Just
black.
So, follow GrindWorks BMX on YouTube,
Instagram.
No, that's on. You're ruining it.
Sorry, my bad. Go for it.
It's GrindWorks BMX on Facebook, YouTube, Mixer, and something else. The Anchor.
Yes, that.
And I still think there's one more that I'm missing. And GrindWorks _BMX on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. You can add me on Snapchat and send me whatever you want, even though I really don't want whatever you're going to send me. And I probably won't respond, but maybe I will.
Follow GrindWorks.
Like, comment, subscribe.
You don't have to
whatever on this
Listen.
video. So just subscribe to the channel.
Listen.
Or don't.
We talked about this. He's working on it. If you liked the video, I've never said this really because I don't say it in my videos, but if you did like this podcast, re-like it from when you disliked it earlier. Because why not? Leave a comment if you thought that we weren't too boring. And subscribe to him. He puts out new podcasts every week so far, right? Once a week?
There was a full month between 1 and 2.
Okay, well, after that.
So,
do you have a schedule?
No, but every week's pretty accurate. It's been... So, if you're subscribed to the channel, you'll notice them on Sunday. If you are not subscribed to the channel, but you follow on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, you will see them posted at some point on Monday.
Got it. So make sure that you stay in tune because these are coming more and more often. And why not? Support BMX and support those who are trying to support something. And that's what he's doing. So do it. Is that the end?
Yeah, let's call that the end.
Okay, we got to do this. You didn't do it. Okay, I'll do it.
I didn't.
Here. Right. Okay, we're good.
We're good?
We're good.
Are we still good?
Thanks for watching. Goodbye.